Welcome to 2024. Happy New Year. I hope you had a great time ringing it in. I know I sure did. And I'm excited for today's daily messages. I'm going to sum two up for you because I did miss yesterday. And the other thing I want to introduce, I know I brought it up in a couple of videos back in December, but we are starting our 52 weeks to a home that is beautiful and organized. So each week on a Monday or Tuesday, so today's going to be a Tuesday, I will post a little blip about what we can do. So it's going to be these little baby steps to getting fully organized in 52 weeks. So each week you'll get a little task. It'll only take about an hour most times, maybe longer depending on the situation, maybe less depending on the type of organization that you need. But by the end of the year, you are going to feel like, yes, I can do this. I can keep a beautifully organized home and feel really good about my space. And that's really, for me, where it starts is your home. If you can feel inspired and elevate your living space, you're just going to find that you're better all around. And part of that is just really getting a process in place. So today's is a very simple one. I've already recorded it, but it's as simple as starting with the entranceway where you walk in. So whether it's your garage for your family or it's your front door, having a place for your shoes, having a place for your coats, having a place for your keys, your purses, your backpacks, those kind of things, getting the clutter cleared, the junk out of there, and just a place for everything. So when you have a place for everything, it makes it simple. And so that goes, to say for any of the things that we're trying to accomplish. I know for me, I was thinking, all right, this year I really want to get better at posting more frequently. So I had to put a plan in place and get a process down where I know, yep, I'm going to work out in the morning, get that done right away. Then I'll record before I start my work day. So I'm an early riser. I do better in the morning. But that's what's going to work for me. I'm going to get up at 5, do my workout, record. So by about 6:37, I'll have all that done and then jump into my workday. But there you go. It's as simple as finding a process that works for you, whatever your goal, your dream, your ambitions are, and just sticking to it. So I know you can't be perfect every day, and that's okay. But I think if you can come back to that process, it makes it a lot easier. So that's the idea of the 52 weeks to a fully organized, beautiful home. And you'll see that there's another link, or I'll put it in a specific folder on my YouTube channel. It'll say 52 weeks to a beautifully organized home. And then at the end of the video, I'll put a direct link to it too. So I'll still do my Elle daily messages. And then once a week, you'll see the 52 weeks. There'll be a new video every week that comes out. So big introduction today. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions or any additional ideas that you'd like to see. I'm happy to do that. So let's start with the quote. It's one of my favorite quotes to begin the new year. I actually started my podcast last year with this quote, and I think it's perfect. You don't have to be great at something to start, but you have to start to be great at something. And that's from Zig Ziglar. And it's so true. I think a lot of times we're afraid to start. We maybe have these ideas or visions, but we're fearful of what the outcome may be, or we're just like, I'm just not ready for this, or I'm not ready for that. It's the same thing if you're a parent or you're not a parent yet, but you're wanting to be a parent, and maybe you're like, I just don't feel ready. Sometimes you're never going to fully feel ready. Sometimes you just got to take the plunge and get started. So that would be my little words of wisdom today, or it's actually Zig Ziglar's words of wisdom. And I want you to affirm yourself with this: I am capable of anything I set my mind to. So whatever it is that you want to accomplish, know that you're capable of doing it, especially if you tell yourself you can. So that's the biggest, roadblock is our own mind, and our internal thoughts can really kind of stump us. So get the mindset, yes, I'm capable of anything I put my mind to. A couple things to reflect on is, how do I feel when I fall into a comparison trap? And the reason I pulled this question for us is, I think a lot of times too, part of the fear, the reason we don't start, and I can speak to my own, with the YouTube, you see a lot of people that have these crazy great channels, and I'm thinking, wow, I don't know that I'm ever going to get to that. Well, that's a comparison, and that just is not a healthy way to think or to start. So get whatever it is that you might be comparing yourself to. Maybe, your situation is so personal to you, so it's hard for me to think of additional examples, but that's just one that comes to mind for me. Maybe you just started dating someone and you're looking at the ex's pictures. Don't do that, whether you're male or female. If you're like, oh, they seem so much better looking or gregarious or whatever it is you're comparing yourself, don't do it. Just know that this person is with you because they see a light and a or something about you that they love. So you don't need to compare yourself. Just love and honor yourself and know that you are exactly where you need to be. So that's your question. How do I feel when I fall into the comparison trap? And another question to consider, how am I different from those around me? So that's where you can celebrate that. Is like when I find myself thinking about that, it's like, every channel is a little bit different. So I'm bringing something else to the table. So same for you. What is special about you? Write those traits down and really focus on those, because that is what you have to offer, and you are the only one with your DNA makeup. So one of my favorite gals says, when God made you, he threw away the mold. So there's not another person out there. And at this point that I'm aware of, I don't think science can actually create our specific DNA. So there's never going to be another Ellen Odelia Roars out there. So keep that in mind. All right, another question to consider, how can I learn to love those differences? So meaning the differences that you feel maybe are a negative to others, how can you love them? So think about, what are your differences, maybe where you feel like you fall short. What makes you special even having those differences? And the other things I want to jump into then is kind of more of the soul journey cards. I love to talk about that. So today was all about grace. And the biggest thing is, accepting the infinite love of the universe with some grace. So I'm going to read this to you, and then we'll go a little deeper today. I've got a few other cards, and it's funny, it popped up more with, the idea of wanting to control or fix someone. So either maybe you're feeling like somebody's trying to fix you or control you, or you have those tendencies. We're going to kind of talk a little bit about that at the end. Ooh, but before I do, because that's going deeper, let me kind of sum it up with the keys to a successful year. And you know what I think it really comes down to is fun and joy and being open, having an open heart, being joyful. So one more question I want to ask you is, how can you welcome more joy into your life? So the reason I bring this up for the new year is because I really think when you look at your task or your goals, your accomplishments, so even when we get into the organizing, if you look at it as fun and joyful, it doesn't feel like a chore. And you can really make those little simple things in life fun, especially if you're with the right people to make it fun. If you're just by yourself, put on some music. If you enjoy a glass of wine, pour a glass of wine or some kind of make yourself a non-alcoholic drink. It doesn't have to be wine. I just bring that up because I still like my wine. But where I'm going with this is somehow you can make a task fun. All right. So a couple things I thought about, because one of my readings was all about the pink dolphin. And back in my days of California, I used to surf, and there would be dolphins every so often that you'd see swimming around. And it was pretty magical, because I think of dolphins. I know dolphins can have a mean side too. I've never seen a mean side, but dolphins tend to be very playful, very joyful. So that's kind of what that reading made me think of. So a couple more things to think about when we play. So when you play, you're able to release the pressures and stress that are carrying you. Like you can just switch off the stress, especially like with kids. You think about when you watch them play, they're not thinking about the day-to-day stresses. They're just living in the moment. So, often when we can turn off the stress, the brain can make additional connections. You can actually find a better way to find a solution to a problem when you're in that playful mindset. So even if you find yourself going down, a rabbit hole of stress and you're just trying to figure out a solution, just take a little break. Maybe go lay down, take a 10-minute nap and reset, and just listen to, sometimes my fireplace will make a nice steady noise. And so I'll sometimes just do that if I need to reset my mind. Whatever it may be for you. Maybe you just need to go on a walk. Maybe you need to do some deep breathing or meditation, or just go outside and have fun. For me, I just put some music on this morning too, and it was a great song, and I was just dancing, having a good time. So I know I bring that up a lot. Dancing is a great way to bring some joy and fun. All right, so there's that. But let's go into the journey card of grace, and then I'll sum up a little bit of the deeper when it comes to relationships. So here you go. Be gracious and understanding with yourself. Angels, guides, and spiritual guardians are watching over you and cherishing you. Kindly honor the reality of others. So, what's interesting? This is already kind of going into relationships again. And my previous video was on relationships, and often the ones that we love and are more dear and near to our heart are the ones that we can be I guess, most opposing to, if that makes sense, or maybe where you can struggle a little bit more with the people that we love the most. So this message might be somewhat, or for some of you specifically, dealing with a concern or a stress out there. So if this doesn't apply to you, that's totally okay. You can jump off now or just listen for future benefit. So here you go. Kindly honor the reality of others. Your soul wants you to know there's a spiritual nobility that accompanies true grace. Even if you absolutely know that your opinion is right, sometimes it's wise to not push your point. Let it drop. It's not that important. The Creator knows the truth of the situation, even if others don't. There are times to be starkly honest, but this one isn't one of them. Hear the truth of others without the overlay of your own opinions. Speak with love, kindness, and diplomacy. Be kind to yourself and cherish your path. So your affirmation would be, I graciously accept the infinite love of the universe. So where I go with that is I think a lot of times, you can maybe feel that you want to get your point across. I brought this up in my previous video, where sometimes it's just not necessary. So this is maybe a message I needed to hear, to act with grace. And I think it's something we can all work on in the new year's, to say, you know what, that's maybe not my belief. I don't agree, especially in the political world. I just got my hair done today. This is my last day off before I go back. So I'm loving the time off. But I had showed her a picture of like, this is the hair color I love. And I said, I hope I'm not going to offend you with this woman I'm showing you. And I'm not going to say it here because I might offend some of you. And she said, isn't it funny we're in a world where we can't express certain people that we love because of the way the world is? And it's true. I think people are easily offended these days. And a lot of times, if you're feeling that they are going to be offended, it might be easier just to zip your lips and just keep it to yourself and act with grace. So, and there is a time and a place. There's a time and a place to say something, but not always. All right. So there's that message. And now what goes with that is surrendering to the idea that you can't fix someone. And maybe they don't need fixing. Maybe you think they do, but they don't think they do, and it doesn't really matter, right? And don't get into a relationship with someone thinking you can fix them, because it just doesn't work that way. And get rid of the idea that, oh, I want to control someone, especially when it comes to kids. I think a lot of times as a parent, you want to control these little people, right? And you're like, oh, no, don't do this, do that. Or it's just a natural, intuitive thing to want to be able to help your kids out the best that you can. But sometimes they are their own little beings, and they are going to be exactly who they want to be. So when you are over controlling, you can sabotage the relationship. So basically, you just got to achieve your own goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some breathing room. And then for the idea of wanting to fix someone, it's time to think, all right, maybe there's a relationship shift that needs to happen. If it doesn't work to try to fix someone, or it doesn't always work to try to fix someone, you must allow each person to be accountable for his or her own healing. So maybe you're in a relationship where, and this can be a nurse thing. I know I'm a nurse by trade, and thank God I don't necessarily have, where I get into bad relationships. I've been very blessed to have good relationships with men, but I know I can see some patterns for nurses where they want to they get in a relationship where somebody maybe needs some healing and thinking that they can do the work for them. But each individual person has to heal their own heart and their wounds and be able to do it when they're ready, when the timing is right. So this has been a bit longer of a message today, but I think it was important. And I know we can kick off the new year thinking about, yes, just being accountable for our own thoughts and feelings, having some gentleness. I think a lot of times, one thing I wrote is, be gentle with yourself at this time and surround yourself with gentle people, situations, and environments. So a new year is a great time to reevaluate the people you're spending time with, and, being able to not put too much pressure on yourself as well, and being gentle to others. So I think, what else did I write? Flow with what is going on instead of fighting it. So when you can't change a situation, having compassion, accepting it exactly as it is will bring you peace. So yes, accepting it as is. If there is something that you can control and make a difference, go for it. But if it's something that you can't, just love what is. All right, sending you so much love, and take a look for the video for the 52 weeks to a beautifully organized home. And I will see you tomorrow or on that 52-week video. So, bye.